Now, when we talk about feedback, right, the key point of, a one-on-one is to obviously do the check-in, to do all of those key points that we looked at before. But when it comes to feedback, this is something that we work with managers so much on. There's so many different points. If you're in the US, you'll probably hear the sandwich technique, which we kind of have moved on from here at Talaera. We're kind of focusing on this feedback wheel. Paula, can you quickly walk us through what giving good feedback means?
Yeah, so I mean, giving good feedback can mean many different things, but at the end of the day, what you want is for it to be helpful. So that's at the top of this wheel. And the way we developed this wheel was based on, not only American communication, but also communication around the world, like what works. And it's very difficult to come up with a one size fits all approach, but we've seen that this wheel is very helpful when you're unsure. And in most cases, it's super effective. So try to be helpful. Does it have a goal? For example, I'm mad and I need to vent. That is not helpful, obviously, but something like we need to improve the slides, or in my experience, this would be better than why, right? You have a clear goal and you're trying to be helpful. You also need to be encouraging. Like you have to go beyond feedback. What's your take on this situation? How could we avoid this in the future? Is there a way I can help you? Right? So you want to be, you want to give more than just telling them what's wrong. Now, for telling them what's wrong, usually when you want to give constructive feedback, there's usually something that you want to change. Here, and this is for me, the golden rule is to move from personality to facts. It's very easy to fall into that. We talked about some biases before. It's very easy to fall into the fundamental attribution bias. I don't know if any of you has heard it before, but it's when we attribute things so when something bad happens to others is because of their personality. He was late. Oh, he's so unprofessional. But when it happens to us, we think it's because external factors. Oh, it was very unlucky that the bus was late, for example. So here to avoid that, to prevent that from happening, you want to stick to facts. So instead of saying you are unprofessional, try saying you've been late 3 days this week. What happened here? Try to be timely. So find the right moment. Here, it's important that you've already built trust before, and then always talk to people. Can I get 5 minutes with you after the meeting? Or I'd love to discuss this specific. This is a personal thing, but I really like it when managers tell you what the topic is going to be about, because otherwise it feels like that boyfriend, girlfriend, we need to talk. And that's very scary. But by saying, hey, there was something about this webinar that I wanted to discuss with you. You're like, okay, I know it's about the webinar. My job kind of thing. The relationship is still okay. And then you want to be direct. Cultural differences play a massive role. We'll talk about that in a moment. But in general, it's important that you are clear and you're honest. Sandwich technique may have worked in some contexts or at some points in life, but it's better to just be, people tend to appreciate honesty as long as you made it, helpful and encouraging and timely. So
right. Think about it holistically. Yeah. And again, like this isn't just something that will work cross-culturally. It's also now we have so many generations in the workforce now. I read something that the other day of, Gen Z is would much rather look for another job and actually change to another job to get a salary increase than negotiate and go in and actually negotiate for a salary increase. Like, things like this, right? So there's just because of that conflict element, right? So there's these actual key points here that we need to kind of consider in how we're framing feedback, not only across cultures, but also across generations there. So